My question is about angel investing. So you pretty much you kind of taught yourself about angel investing, right? Like you didn't go to school for it. So we kind of similar. We're learning about angel investing, and we made a lot of investments in the last couple of years. I have a two-part question. What do you look for when you're investing in companies? Like, what's your due diligence that you say, okay, this is something that I think is a good investment?
It's evolved, but I guess at the core of it is like because we're making earlier stage investments and because we're not putting in insane amounts of money, we're not a private equity company, we're not a big venture capital firm. Is just whether I connect with the founder and whether I can 100% see this founder leading a business to becoming a successful business. And I think there's certain traits and certain DNA in a founder that it is part of the process. So, like, yes, are there founders that have built companies that maybe didn't have that at first? Sure. But for me, I need to feel that and see that and understand that vision of this person can build this company into exactly what they say it is. Number two is just like whether I can explain it to the next person. Do I really understand the business? So if it's a consumer brand, what's this like differentiator again, like we talked about, that allows this company to have its own space? Clearly there's a level of like institutional due diligence that needs to be done. But I think at the early stage where we're investing, it's got to be like, do we see that in their eyes? Do we understand the business? Do we understand the market and the way to get that business to where they want to go? And can I be useful and helpful? And then I've even pushed how I look at that to another level now because I'm building out this whole boardroom ecosystem, whereas some of these businesses, like in the form of these sports investments, they make sense in our overarching business. So if I believe in the founder of the PLL, Paul Rabel, and I know he has it to be a rock star entrepreneur, and I believe in these sport properties that never had the same opportunity and light of day in this new world, I see the way in which the PLL could be a successful league. And then can Boardroom support it? Does it bring value to our platform? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it's all of those things for us that I look at. As we've done bigger deals in private equity and as we've done bigger investments, I have allowed in that part of the process that I need to learn from. You know what I'm saying? And that's having great people to sound off of, to understand the economics, to read into the financials more. But early stage, it's usually that.
You guys invested in Ring?
In Ring, no, I wish.
Katie, it was one thing that he invested in that made headlines, right?
Postmates, really early.
Postmates, yeah, the
Postmates.
delivery.
In like 2014,
Yeah.
15.
You were involved with that?
Yes.
Okay. So that was like that's been the biggest deal so far that you guys invested in?
No, I mean, it had a lot of notoriety because of the time.
Okay.
2014, 15 on-demand food service was like blowing up. And when Kevin went to the Bay, Postmates took out this billboard that was like KD delivered. And it was like just a timely moment. And we did very well. But there's been other investments that has had incredible return or, you know, on paper still, even with the state of the economy, have incredible returns. But, you know, Postmates, I think early on was one of those ones just because of the time.
You're building a media company, right? This is 2019, and then obviously 2020 happens, and the way we do media changes. Talk about the shift in or the adjustment that you guys had to make, because prior to that, we go talking about how KD was pretty quiet, pretty, reluctant to speak to media until he has his own platform where he can speak freely and create his own show. You have your own show out the office. Talk about the shift and adjusting that you had to do post the pandemic.
Well, we were lucky that we weren't that big of a business yet. It actually benefited us because my original concept for this was that we sold 2 seasons of a show to ESPN and did 12 episodes on ESPN called The Boardroom. And I was always planning on building a business that was going to complement it, but I was really leaning in on this ESPN relationship. And right before the pandemic, we did a boardroom panel at MIT, and I was hoping to like keep building off of that. When the pandemic hit, ESPN told us quickly, like, we're not going to be able to pick up a season 3. We understood. I mean, I was tight, but we understood. But then I had that like moment where I was like, you have to deal with this moment, a bit of like self-reflection where I was like, let's be honest, no one's going to give a shit if I just stop. There's no one out there, like nobody's telling me to do it. KD's not going to tell me like, you're not my agent anymore. If I don't do boardroom, my wife wasn't going to leave me. But I just like took one night to be like, is this what the fuck I want to do? And I was like, hell yeah. Like, straight up, like right then, hell yeah, this is the word, boardroom. This is going to be the phrase. This is going to be the brand that's kind of going to be on my back now, where I like make this like new part of my journey. And I wanted to build a brand around it. And I have a hard time even saying media company. I mean, I think for me now, it's really like a brand that we built, and where it shows up and what I can do with it now, I don't know. The media side of it can power it all. The media can make everything we do bigger and louder, and I can control the narrative, like you said. But I see it as a brand now that we're building, you know? And for me, that moment, I was like, all right, yes, I'm going to do this. This is exactly what I want to do.